Toucan Play That Game is proudly sponsored by NiceGameShop.com, the place to go for rare and unusual Asian games.
Hello and welcome to the second annual UK Tabletop Gaming Networking thing. I keep changing the name every 5 minutes. But the thing that we do now once a year where we all get together, us indie game people, it's designers, shopkeepers, developers, publishers, and everyone else in between, like Mike. And we get together and we talk about indie gaming, we talk about publishing, distribution, design, and everything else we do to support what it is we do for a living or as a hobby, and those people like me where it's just kind of like your entire all-consuming life, and probably most of the people here as well. So today what we're going to do is we're going to start off with an incredibly cringy icebreaker thing to get you all talking to each other, so you don't stay in the corner and big more wallflower for the rest of the day. You make the most of the networking experience. And later on the day we'll be talking to a variety of media personalities. You want to put your hands up, media personalities? Yeah, you as well. Yeah, as well as a couple of presentations from people who come along to talk about some different services and platforms and resources that we can use within the industry to help grow our brands, make the most of the kind of the work that we put into designing our game, running our business, developing our product, whatever it is that we're trying to do in the industry. And then towards the end of the day, we're going to be talking about the new fancy spangled organisation which we're going to be putting together, the UK Tabletop Games Association, which is going to be a trade organising body, an official, recognised, government-sponsored thing that we're going to use to access tons of funding and resources to help grow the businesses even more, to support independent developers and designers, help bring more people together and hopefully make this industry even bigger, even more exciting, and even more well supported than it currently is, which would be really cool. And what we're doing now is just discussing what we in this room think are the kind of the objectives we might want to set for this kind of organisation, what kind of services we might want it to provide to the people in this room and the people like us around the country, and then kind of set a direction from which we can sort of start off the conversation with the wider community, for those people who aren't here. So hopefully today you'll have a really fun time. A few people said, I was really hoping there would be breakfast, and I'm really glad that there was. This is a 3-meal event. Lots of food and drink. We're having lunch at about 1ish, and there'll be pizza and stuff about 6:30. If you need the toilet, it is right behind you. There is a makeshift occupied sign thing. Please make sure you use it, because there isn't a lock on the door, so we don't want any awkward incidents. I mean, we all need to be close and understand each other and really know each other well, but not that much. If you want to smoke, feel free to go outside onto the little canal side bit. Don't fall in, it's full of hepatitis. Or just outside there, that's going to be fine. If you need drinks and stuff, there's coffee and tea over there. Feel free to use anything in the kitchen. This place is your place for the day. If you want to crack open the game, feel free to. I'm not going to get precious about you pulling apart my games. I'm going to squeal a little bit, that's fine. Plenty of tables and stuff to set up at any point during the day. If you don't want to listen to whoever it is that's talking, that's fine. They probably won't take offence. Feel free to go through there and play some games. If you want to do some play testing in the middle of the day because you're not interested in whatever it is we're talking about, that's completely fine. Feel free to go through there. So, first of all, what we'll do is we'll introduce you to a few important people. So, Anthony over there. Anthony is ITB's first full-time employee. He's our games developer. He's going to be helping me throughout the day. So if you've got any questions and I'm frazzled and going all over the place and you want to know something, ask Anthony, he'll set you up. If you need anything during the day, just let us know. Whatever it is, if you've got a problem, don't know what that might be, if there is some kind of dire emergency. But until then, the cringy icebreaker. So, there's a few tables knocking around, and there's a few more folding tables knocking around the place. Anthony, you set those up if they're not already set up. What we want to do is split yourselves into groups of 5 or 6. Please sit yourself with people who you don't know. Okay, so try and be brave. I know we're all awkward nerds in the room. It's hard to do that sometimes. But try as much as you can to do that. Make sure you talk to as many different people as possible during the day. There's lots of different people here today. Let's say we've got reviewers, we've got writers, we've got shopkeepers, we've got convention organisers, developers, designers, publishers, everyone in between. So there's lots of different places where you can go and make most of the day. So split into those groups of 5 or 6, if anywhere around the room you want. And what we'll do is we'll give you a few pieces of paper and a few pens between your groups, and you're going to be designing a game in 1 hour. Okay, so anyone who's tried to do that will know that's completely impossible. So what you're going to try and do is make a pitch for a game. So the idea is you're about to design a game and you want to pitch it to someone to take it to Kickstarter. Okay? And you are going to make a game which hits as many of the Kickstarter boxes as possible. Okay? And I'm just going to leave it at that and see what ridiculous stuff you come up with. So the most Kickstarter game you can think of. So if you want to put zombie Cthulhu miniatures set in Greece with something crazy like that, that sounds like the kind of thing that would work well. But basically, we just want to kind of get the creative juices flowing and see what kind of insane things you can come up with. Yo.
Do we have a list of the Kickstarter?
No, not at all. So it's going to keep it quite freeform, but basically we want to put together a pitch for a game. So something that's interesting, something that's innovative, something that's got a flair to it and a twist to it. I'm just going to leave it vague, leave it open. I just want to see what people come up with. This isn't like a game design task, or I'm actually going to like offer anyone a contract at the end of the day. I'm excited.
Well, that's what we wanted.
Yeah, this is literally just to get you talk to each other and get you making things. So rather than waffle on for too much longer, if you want to split yourselves up into groups of 5 or 6, there's a few tables through there, and there's a few tables knocking around that Anthony's set up as well. Use any of the available space, and this chair contains all of the resources you are permitted to use, other than the ones you currently have with you. Knock yourselves out, enjoy yourselves, you have until 12 o'clock to make a game. Designing the most ridiculous Kickstarter game you can think of. So what we're going to do really quickly is each group's going to come up in turn and very, very quickly is going to present their idea to the rest of the room and tell us about their game, about what makes it interesting, about what makes it specifically Kickstarterable, which is going to be interesting. Some of your ideas are absolutely mental. But yeah, so do you have any volunteers for groups to come up first and present to the audience their wonderful idea for crowdfunding goodness?
I can't get through.
That's all of us.
Yeah. Sorry, Adam.
It's okay. Or,
Okay. At the beginning, there were dragons. Each dragon made a world in its own image and created peoples to populate those worlds. However, as those peoples prospered, they began to meddle in things they didn't understand. They customized and bastardized their creators, enhancing their dragons with cybernetic, magical, and organic technology. Now, these dragons, grown twisted and hateful by their creations, fight each other amongst the stars. On worlds populated by fantasy creatures, the tales of the cyber dragon meltdown will unfold.
So we've got different worlds that the dragons come from. There's a zombie-based world, there's a steampunk-based world, there's a wizard-based world, and a Cthulhu-based world.
Oh, it's all about this.
yeah. Each of them will have their own unique mechanics. So, like the Cthulhu will send other dragons mad. And the wizards have various tricky spells like being invisible or teleportation. The zombies will just keep resurrecting because they're zombies.
Yeah, steampunk is incredibly resilient, but quite slow. So they've all got different strengths and weaknesses.
So, it's not just all about the dragons. I mean, the dragons created worlds, and you've got worlds of figurines, miniatures, coming over, and each miniature has its own little deck with stupendous artwork. But then, at the centerpiece, you've got the Dice Tower Dragon figurines! You shove a dice into the tail of the dragon, and then it tumbles through, and then it comes out of the mouth of the dragon like flames. And it's customizable, you can stick little swords into the dragons, and it alters the way that the dice moves around. And it's ARG, it's on a neoprene mat, and you look, and the dice leaves weights in it of destruction and fire and everything.
What you really want to care about is the technical specifications. So this is a PvPvE area-controlled dexterity game featuring upgradable, customizable miniatures combat with adaptive gameplay resolving from how custom dice land on our unique neoprene app playmat. It plays one or more players, either IRL or online, via this map, which is a 3x3 high-quality, beautifully illustrated map, where it will read the chips in the dice and will immediately adapt both gameplay-wise and for an immediate cinematic effect that covers the entire map for that direct feedback on everything you do in this game. That's it.
There are a number of stretch goals which we're hoping to hit to expand your game and make it more interesting. There are additional worlds you can have, and each world has a different dragon, represented by a different dragon dice tower, with different technologies, different components, different ways to play the game. Each of these additional worlds will expand your game and make it far more interesting. It will bring onto the table fully automated dragons, ones which have got no flesh on them at all, but are entirely robotic, or other dragons which have got no robotics on them at all, but are purely evolved to fight in the stars. In addition to that, we have Stretch Goal, which will enable us to produce a graphic novel where you can actually see the story and read the story of these amazing creatures, how they came to be, how they get to fight each other, and what they're doing right now. And finally, we have Stretch Goal, which will enable us to actually upgrade the app which comes with the game, and therefore increase the changes to the interactive board, and also provide background music so you can enjoy when you play the game.
Back now, it's only £190, and you get everything you need for 2 people to play. And it's suitable for 1 to 1 million players. But you need to buy more copies of the game if you want to play with more than 2. But there will be tournaments and there will be warehouses sorted out for 100-player games where everyone's got their own Dragon Dice Tower!
That's it. That's it. Thank you.
That's going to be hard to follow. Okay, volunteers for the next group to come along and present their idea, hopefully not involving a crazy dragon dice tower. Shall we? Here we go. Yeah? All right, guys.
Oh, we good. Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's get this over with.
That was...
No, we're going to do the reveal.
So just a minute.
And then mic drop.
Okay, so this is our game. It's called Bill and Ted's Marvelous Adventure.
This is the most ambitious game ever, and is quoted by Dave that made Kingdom Death look like Snap. Ambitious,
So this is a co-op marble run labyrinth marble placement game. Right, you play as Bill, Ted, and other historical figures trapped in time, and you need to get back to your respective time zones. Okay, so the time zones will include.
The base time zones are steampunk time zone, time zone based in Japan in the age of the samurai. Added stretch goal time zones include a Hogwarts zone, a Star Wars zone, a zone populated by pirates, a post-apocalyptic zombie zone, an Arkham Asylum zone, the bowels of the TARDIS, and a creepy cave system.
which of course all be got glow in the dark UV.
Yeah, all glow in the dark. You can only see those tiles and the details in the dark.
Right, and then we've got some of our stretch goals. Explain the game. Okay. The marble miniatures. I know it sounds exciting. These are mini miniatures trapped inside the marbles moving around. Okay, you'll be using these. You'll be turning the cogs as the as the marble run towers turn and rotate, allowing you to drop your marbles onto specific parts of the tracks to roll down into the greater game area, which is kind of a bit like Crazy Golf, where you've got to drop your marbles into the correct holes to deliver them to the right time zone.
Stretch goals will include glass time crystals, metal marbles, screw coins, motorised wheels, railgun, and gyroscopic marbles, so they'll actually like turn inside the marbles. And then maybe like a full-scale hamster ball one.
Which is not for use in the game, obviously, it's for your hamsters.
Just your hamster. A GoPro marble, so you can physically see on the camera the journey that your marble is going through. A DeLorean one that your marble can sit in and ride across 2 time zones in one go. And holographic marbles and helmets and safety equipment at the end.
Of course, it's not only a Bill and Ted license, which we can definitely acquire. During the Kickstarter, we'll be unlocking several other licenses and playable characters. The characters that come in the game are like a samurai pirate, boring shit. Yeah. Unlocks, which we'll go through the campaign, include Doctor Who, Doc Brown and Marty, the Time Traveller, and obviously all the characters will have opposite genders, so the Time Traveller's wife. The Yankee, the dude from Stargate, the dudes from Quantum Leap, Sliders, Jackie Chan in a jacket, I haven't seen that one. The Hot Tub Time Machine people, Star Trek, X-Men, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the cast of Heroes, the cast of Lost, Samurai Jack, David Bowie, Gerard Depardieu, and Nicolas Cage.
And I think that is Bill and Ted's Marvellous Adventure.
Alright, next volunteers / victims. No one? No one? I think there's like 3 more groups.
You described such a fabulous game without actually describing how it works.
You don't really know how it works.
It's just marvellous.
It's just marvellous.
Alrighty.
Good afternoon, everybody. We're here to pitch Tex-Mex. Tex-Mex is a mech building game which then leads into gladiatorial area combat. arena. First off, we're going to tell you a little bit about the game and then tell you about the Kickstarter potential.
Okay, so the first thing players do, there's a round of drafting where you draft what your mech is going to be composed of. So you're picking a propulsion system, a core, and a right and left arm. So propulsion system, you might choose legs, wheels, jets, etc. Core will give you a balance between how armoured you are and how much battery you have, which gives you a certain amount of action points, and then right and left arm for different melee weapons, ranged, etc. So you do this drafting around, and you build 3 mechs each from this combination of components, and then you're ready to begin the arena battle phase. It's based on a kind of a MOBA layout, if you know what that is. So each team has a home base, and then there are going to be 3 neutral objectives in the middle. Each turn, one player gets to activate a mech using the components that it's been put together with and make a dash for one of the objectives or engage some of the other mechs in combat. And as you destroy the other person's mechs, the bits that they put together can fall off, and other teams can pick those up and use them later as salvage for their next round of drafting and so on. So it's about constructing your mechs. Do you want to go for speed or heavy armour? You know, strategic choices to make there, and then you go into the arena and try and claim the objectives with those mechs.
Did you want to add anything about it? So, we've studied and extensively researched Kickstarter on what makes games work well on Kickstarter. And there's a number of different factors here, and there's actually a lot of different communities on Kickstarter, and we want to appeal to different communities. So, first off, we've created what we believe is an absolutely fantastic game. All the playtesting we've done has been brilliant. It's worked really well. You will find it's already actually up on Tabletop Generator, and we'll hear more about that this afternoon. But the game has been designed so that you can play it without miniatures. However, the real joy and the Kickstarter potential is from the miniatures. And these aren't just any miniatures. These are customizable miniatures which have add-on components. So you can add arms and you can add legs, and they're magnetically attached so that you can build your miniatures as you once you've done your drafting. And furthermore, when you get into the battle phase of the game, you can then rip your miniatures apart, or your opponent's miniatures apart, and you can leave the arms and the legs and the components on the board to then be salvaged by other miniatures later on. So we think that will actually appeal to people, and we're not conscious of it having been done before. So the magnetically attachable miniatures, that's a stretch goal. The core game has ones which you can peg together, so they're slightly cheaper to create, but we're quite convinced this will get the stretch goal of the magnetic ones. As I say, you don't have to use the miniatures to play the game, so the game can be played quite happily with just cards and with other components. We think that there's quite a large Kickstarter community who will back on the basis of this sounds an interesting game, and then will be enticed into upgrading, and as the momentum builds, as the enthusiasm builds, they'll start going for the miniature setup. So it's a 1-hour game, is what we've designed it for. 15 minutes for the deck building, 45 minutes for the combat stage.
Drafting, not deck building.
Sorry, the drafting, yes, the drafting and the mech building. One of the things... Sorry?
I thought you play-tested it.
Yes, we play-tested it extensively. Other things we think work well. It's got great art. So the core game comes with two teams. It's the Mechicans versus the Azmecs. And you can see these mechs, these robots with Solaria hats, and tremendous humour in all of that. And we think humour is a great thing in terms of just getting the excitement going. And of course the game is endlessly expandable. You can bring in extra different components, different teams, so you can have a Star Wars version, and there are all sorts of licensing opportunities, which we'd be happy to talk to whichever publisher signs us. Other things which we think appeal about it, the fact that you've got a strategic component when you're actually doing the building of your mechs, but you've also got a tactical component during the battle phase. And as was explained, you can go for speed, or you can go for defence, or you can go for combat. So there are multiple ways to win, and we think that means it's endlessly replayable in terms of the different tactics and strategies you can play. We also have a solo version, So you can play it on your own if you like, and you can practice it, and you can see what works well. There will be an online version as well. Oh, and I forgot to say dice. The game, of course, is dice, and part of the battle mechanic is you roll a number of dice, and the number of dice you roll is dependent on how you built your mech. Also, the type of dice you roll depends on the quality. So you have 4-sided, 6-sided, 8-sided, 10-sided, 12-sided dice, depending on how you build it up. That again gives us a stretch goal potential for nice gem dice or metal dice and the sort of things which appeal to the Kickstarter community. So we think it's got real potential, humour, it's got originality, it's got the detachable magnetic mech components. So we give you Tex Mex.
Alright, next group. You're up.
Not sure how to start this though. I think people are bored of fighting mechs. So you know, you like fighting an arena, but not mechs. What you want to be fighting is gods.
Yeah.
So we're bringing you Godacium. Carry on.
So, we're going to have one big Colosseum area where all the gods are going to be fighting. And this is where you've got some really large miniatures to take up the space, and you can see that extra detail. So we've hired the best sculptors in the world to be able to put these together. Now, the board already looks amazing with great artwork, these amazing miniatures on there, but everyone also has their own god boards, and there's going to be loads of different custom dice scattered around the area. You're going to be picking these up in the Colosseum while you're doing battle, and this is how you're going to be able to move around, how you're actually going to attack and defend, because each of these dice have different faces on them, and the different types of dice, well they're different in that it's skewed. Some dice are skewed to attacking, some are skewed to defending, some are skewed to just moving around if you want to move a bit faster. But you've got all sorts. And we've got lots of different stretch goals to upgrade the dice, and we've got them all sparkly and all different colours to really bring you into the theme as well.
So the funding goal is £3. So within 24 hours, we can say that we hit like 2,000% of our funding goal. It's also had input from Eric Lang, who said, "Please stop calling me." And we have a video from the Undead Viking on there as well, so you know it's legit. We're also going to get a famous board game media personality to write a song about the game, which will be on there.
And a certain stretch goal will have singing in miniatures. So.
Yeah.
What about the video you were talking about, filmed in Greece?
Oh yeah, we're going to go to one of the original Colosseums and get we're going to just put a real big budget into hiring cosplayers for the video.
A full-scale event.
Yeah.
Added CGI in the filmmaking process to really bring it to life.
Really brush over the gameplay, but
it's a game for 1 to 6 players, but the base game can only be played by 2. You have to purchase add-on packs.
Yeah.
And you can't play it with 3. You can't play it with 3. Yeah.
3 you're not
it's
allowed.
not. It's just 1 to 2 or a 4 to 6 player. The base game comes with 2 minis, but you can add on up to 500. And glow-in-the-dark minis as well.
So the core concept of the game is you want to be in the arena collecting up as many worshippers as you can to power your gods and fight each other off in any way that you see fit. The whole point of the game is it's a social dynamic that allows people to really vent their rage against each other and call each other names across the table and really get into the feelings of their gods. Some of the base level gods will be Zeus, Cthulhu, Odin, Thor, the Monkey King, Sun Wukong, and who was the other one?
Some of them gods.
The Zombie King. For licensing problems, we can't call him the one from
Well, we'll see if we can get the license.
The guy from the north. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Fantastic.
There's one more team.
I'm actually going to make two more teams. I'm not even joking. Like, I'm actually going to finish this off this weekend. If you put your emails down, I'll send you out the thing.
Did a newsletter?
No, I'm actually going to make it.
No, I'll go and add
It seems awesome.
So, there are so many games out there that are focused on conquest, heroic battles, and doing well in some particular way. We've got a game which is more about losing or failing in the most heroic way possible. We bring to you Red Shirt, the game of heroic death. So, the general idea for the game is it's a tile-laying, multiplayer, survival, combat, exploration, aggressive battle game. It's all about bringing on tiles from different worlds. They can be post-apocalyptic or steampunk and buzzword. And the general idea is to you find different threats on these tiles, and there'll be victims on the tiles as well, and these will range from adorable kittens to innocent bystanders. And the idea is to put yourself in the way of the threat so that you take all the damage and not the poor kitten. So this is a very brief explanation of the mechanics. Crispin will do a bit more depth.
Okay. Well, we've decided it's a 45-minute failure game, and we're targeting the widest possible audience. Because let's face it, while not everybody can succeed, so, the idea is to die 5 times, but you have to die in the most heroic way possible. So, you are going to wander around exploring all these various places, and there will be a threat, and there will be a victim. And you have to interpose yourself between the threat and the victim, but you have to do so successfully. Now, sometimes you might choose not to, because while sometimes there is a kitten and an explosion, and obviously you want to get between the kitten and the explosion, and by the way, if you pair up, so they come in pairs, if you get a kitten and an explosion, you get a bonus point for that one. Yeah. So, you interpose yourself between the kitten and the explosion, and you die, heroically, and then you respawn back on your starting tile, and gain some points for it. However, you have a hand of cards. Now, if you find that you are facing a kitten and a tarantula, you can, if you've got in your hand the explosion card, you can substitute the tarantula for an explosion and die even more heroically than you originally would have done in that situation. That's the good bit. However, if you're playing with evil people, and you may well, if they've got an intervention card, they, if they're close enough, can also intervene, and they've got a very similar hand. So you may play out your cards intending to save the kitten from an explosion, but at the very moment of death, realise that you've actually saved a hairy biker from a custard pie. This scores fewer points. The other thing that can happen is the other person can leap in front of your threats. In some circumstances, they save the kitten and you, which gets them a lot of points and you none. In other circumstances, they don't save the kitten, but they don't save you either, and everybody's dead. So he gets a few points for being heroic, and you get no points because he has got in the way. So there are tiles, and the tiles give you various things. We have expansions, which we're going to talk about. Do you want to talk about the expansions?
So we've got expansions and stretch goals, which are dinosaurs, which introduce new threats and victims, earthquakes, which introduce new mechanics, and magic, which creates knock-on effects. But we're fairly confident that by the time this campaign funds, virtual reality technology will exist. We can actually don some safety goggles, which of course will be part of the campaign, and then we can actually go into these virtual worlds and experience this stuff for real as well. And of course we'll have giant super-sized dice, which are going to have kitten faces on, not actual kitten faces. And that's
Do we-
it for the stretch goals.
Do we mention the game has miniatures?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
we have miniatures. We have a special backer level, quite high, but you, if you give us a 3D image of yourself, can be one of the miniatures. So you, even when you're fast asleep, can be heroically flinging yourself between nuns and chainsaws is another one. So yeah, for the price of only $10,000, you can be one of the militaries in the game who will be heroically sacrificed every minute of every day.
One more team or two more teams? Have you been yet, Mike? No. You haven't been yet? Okay.
Save the best for last.
Yeah.
Alright, what we got? Okay, we give you Prospectium. It's an alien planet exploration game where you're a team of specialists or from independent contractors who've been sent to the planet to prospect and survey resources to send home for money. You must gather the resources before your drop-off ship comes back to pick you up from the alien planet that you've gone to plunder. Now, let's get straight into it. The drop-off ship is the game box, and it's a massive miniature. You take the lid off, you take the components out, you place it down, it's your round counter. Once it circles the planet, the game is over. So, victory conditions are you must find the most valuable data and samples. Each of you are hired to plunder the planet. You'll plunder the planet in a different way. You've got to plunder the planet in a way that would be unique from your individual different players.
Yeah, sure. So it's aimed at ages 12 and up. It's a middleweight 60 to 90 minute game, 2 to 6 players. There's also an app which you use for it. So based on where you are in the real world will affect what happens in the game. So different resources will be around you depending on where you are, and different threats as well. And the weather.
For example, a hurricane's coming in. You put in hurricane tiles and they destroy the planet that you're on. If it's particularly cold outside, you put in different things to mitigate that in the game. Your goal is to make the most money, but we want it to be a game that you want to take on holiday because the game will play differently depending on where you are and how you're doing. Now, the components, the standard game comes with maybe a couple of cards and bits, and we'd encourage you to go out and repurpose, let's say, bits of your planet around you to be part of the game. So if one of the components, say one of the materials was colo, go and find bits of rock, stick them on your board. Metaler, yeah, find water, maybe put it in a cup, but use it.
You can see why we need to kickstart this.
Yeah. We've got written hamster.
That was more of a mobile hazard as far as
There's a hamster in your environment, use it.
You mentioned the VR.
Oh yeah, so we've been talking to NASA for the highest backer level. They assure us this is possible. We're going to create a space helmet, a functional space helmet with a heads-up display which will display the app. And you can play the game in space as long as you can find some way of getting there. They're not going to cover that.
I think that's perspective.
I think we've got the last team ready to go.
Yes.
Put yourselves around.
You disowned me, am I going to...
Oh god, yeah. Just nothing to do with that.
So my team is so confident that we've got this nailed. Okay. Shit happens. The first cat litter tray simulation social deduction Euro war game. Fantastic. So, and with hidden trays. So yes, what will happen is, during a secret point of the game, at the start of the game,
players are blindfolded and they will compile their specially finely crafted miniature turds. Will have little chits attached to them, are sniffable and lickable.
Scratch and sniff.
The idea, scratch and smell, yeah, scratch and sniff. So the idea is that you will position these on your opponent's litter trays. The intention and plan is to eventually get such a pungent shit in another person's litter tray that their cat is put to the vets and put down. Stretch goals include poo scoopers and cat. Yeah, and we can do a life-size, full-scale version, and obviously for the video, we'll have specially trained cats.
We've got a global license on kitty litter.
Yeah, absolutely. Cover that license in. So there you go. Yes, shit happens. The first litter tray or Euro scratch and sniff simulator.
That's everyone. Okay, so I was going to do a voting round, but I feel like that's just probably not the best idea. To see what weird things you guys actually want to put on Kickstarter. But yeah, Startup was absolutely fantastic. What we're going to do now is break for lunch. I'm going to have to go to Sainsbury's and get the lunch because I got on too late and forgot. And couldn't bring the lunch and the breakfast all in one go back from Sainsbury's when I got that. So amuse yourself. I'll get the lunch sorted, and then after that we'll start with the sort of presentations and talks from some of the guys who come along to show you some interesting things and prepare yourselves for the meeting at the latter part of the day where we will form the first organisation thing, whatever it is called, whichever buzzword name thing I decide to give it by the end of the day. Yeah, that, whatever, steampunk, something. And yeah, so amuse yourselves, talk to each other, I guess. Gather around tables, play games. I think we do that kind of thing sometimes.
Maybe.
Yeah, if you want to set up yourselves on tables and like grab some of the games off the shelves, you're more than welcome to. Except the sealed copies of Subterra. If you touch them, I will murder you. But other than that, I'll get the food.